Jarvis, I don't care how you put it. You can say that Trae Young put on for his city up top. Check. You can say that Trae Young literally was out there being a gardener, or like old school, they used to say, your is grass and I'm the lawnmower. Yep, he was that guy too.
Yep, check.
You can say he was so I mean, all of it, all of
Check.
the above works if you are referring to one Trae Young who single-handedly took over the game from the tip. And Jarvis, what I love about it is this. When we talked about one of the things we wanted to see from Trae Young, it wasn't just taking over, but it was being smart and aggressive. And we saw
Yes.
a very smart, aggressive style of play last night to get the Hawks the 119-117 win to force a game six to come back here. And so there are two, to me, Jarvis is a part one and a part two to this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The part one is Trae Young understood the assignment and completed it.
Yeah.
And part two is Shaquille O'Neal would say the others understood the assignments and completed it. Yeah. Yeah. So, that's kind of where I want to start. And then, of course, there's a part three to it as well. But first things first. Part one, Jarvis, give Trae Young all the darn flowers, because again, when you set the tone by the first possession and allowing 11 to 12 seconds of the shot clock to go through. So I'm making the point because he did not rush to hit that first three, but the very first thing he did out of the gate was hit a three. And that to me set the stage, regardless of the fact that Boston went up by 13 and the Hawks had to battle back for the win. That he set the stage. So 38 points later,
Right.
13 assists later, 2 steals later, and the Hawks live another day because Trae Young did exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I really love and appreciate about Trae, because at the end of the day, like, I'm born and raised from Atlanta, like, and I want this team to do well.
Yes.
I understand the last time they had a superstar on their squad, and that was Dominique Wilkins, and they traded him away. And I understand the narrative as far as, oh yeah, the Hawks are going to tear it down, or Trae Young may be on the trading block. I'm not excited. I'm gonna get excited about that type of stuff. I don't know how people, broadcasters feel in this market, but for me, I don't get excited about that type of stuff because I know the history and I know where it comes from. So for me to sit up there and watch that game, I was literally in awe, because we talked about what he needed to do, the type of performance that he needed to have with Dejounte Murray being out, and he went out there and did it. And what really got it for me, where I was I just started laughing and I started chuckling to myself. I was like, this is really dope, is when he hit him with the ice tray after he hit that shot. And I was just like, man, I haven't seen that in a long time. Yeah. Trae actually looked like he was having fun, T.
Yes.
And that's the Trae Young that we need. We need the guy out there having fun, not trying to answer questions and his leadership being questioned and, oh, you the doggone problem. You getting folks fired. I don't want all that. I don't want that drama. And I'm sure he doesn't want it either. So to see him having fun last night and looking at the crowd after he hit that shot and just, yeah, I know it's cold up in this joint. Yeah. I absolutely loved it, T, and I'm all for it on Thursday when they get ready to start rocking again.
Indeed. And I love the fact that when we saw that out of him, it was like the entire team didn't sit back and say, oh, okay, we're just going to let Trae win this thing. Like, everybody else understood. Yeah, Trae can have a 38-point, 13-assist night, but guess what? You all, and also I want to give him credit for being efficient, because a total game of 4 turnovers, when there have been games where we've seen him have 5 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Played an efficient game, but the team figured out, oh my goodness, if we're going to win this game, we got to do something too. We can't just stand back and watch Trae do his thing. John Collins. So he may not have given us the double-double.
Respect, my brother.
Exactly. But you got to give him so much credit for also having an efficient night, because it wasn't just 22 points, Jarvis, but it was 9 of 18 from the field. It was 4 of 9 from 3. So again, that is smart basketball. That's the smart basketball that we needed to see from him. Also, Bogdanović, because we didn't know if Quinn Snyder was going to go, quote unquote, kind of small ball and kind of stick with a shooting guard in that space, or if he was going to go kind of the 3 forward style. We didn't really know what he was going to do. Decided to go with Bogey, and Bogey delivered just enough in the 18 points. Got 5 assists, 2 blocks. 2
Yeah.
blocks. And the reason I mentioned that is because you can look down that
He can D up
entire
when he wants to.
exactly. He will be up
Yeah.
when he wants to or when you
Yeah.
need him to. And so if
Exactly.
you look down that whole 9-man rotation, Jarvis, whether you're looking under rebounds, steals, blocks, whatever the case may be, that was also to me very encouraging to be able to look down the entire rotation and see that each person contributed 2 ways, because the 2-way play, I don't care if it was just a 2-point win, the 2-way play puts you in position to even come back from that deficit and win the game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when you're talking about coming back from a deficit, right? Because it seemed like Boston was in the control of this game
Yeah.
from the most part, and
Yeah.
then the Hawks were just kind of sticking around, not
Yeah.
letting it get up to 20, 25-point lead or anything, or 30 or whatever. It was just
Mhm.
like around 10, 12, 13, and then next thing you know, it started getting down to 8, and then you start to down to 6, and then when they hadn't had a lead to when they were up in the second quarter once they took the lead in the fourth quarter. So just the resiliency that this
Yeah.
team played with and showed, I think it was refreshing. It was refreshing to really watch. And then I just love how the whole scheme aspect of the game, as far as Quinn
Mhm.
Snyder with playing around with different lineups and having
Yes.
Jalen Johnson in there with Onyeka Okongwu and doggone Clint Capella. Like
Yep.
that was something to see. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is how you working it. And then
Mhm.
having Jalen Johnson defended on the perimeter, and I'm just like, whoa,
Yep.
what is this? So I was like,
Very
okay,
necessary.
yes,
Very
very
necessary.
necessary. That's the perfect way to put it. So I think that playing around with the matchups, Trae doing exactly what he was called to do, which
Yes.
is lead this doggone team and go out there and get a dub on the road in the Garden. The Gardener was in the building, T, and I absolutely loved it.
And what you just said is why I think they still have very much a chance on Thursday when Dejounte Murray is reinserted in the lineup, because Quinn Snyder showed even last night how he really does have the touch when it comes to not just realizing that, okay, we need to do some switches, I need to play around or tinker around with this rotation, but being able to do it in the moment. It reminded
Yeah.
me, his tinkering around with the lineups last night actually reminded me of something that he did in game 3 and even in the loss in game 4, by the way. There were
Yeah.
moments where he immediately called a timeout, right? Didn't wait
Mm-hmm.
for the lead to get out of hand for the Celtics, or didn't wait for the Hawks lead to be whittled down to nothing. He called
Yep.
timeouts in a timely manner. And I feel like being able to do that, being able to see who's the hot hand or where do I need better 2-way play, that's how he's going to make, to me, an easy reinsertion of Dejounte Murray into the lineup. And think about it. Even in these games, these games in this playoff series, although the first 2 games kind of mirrored what it looked like in the regular season, where you had the 13-point wins by the Celtics, the one constant, taking nothing away from what Trae did in game 5, but the one constant has been Dejounte Murray.
Right.
So I'm confident that Quinn Snyder is going to find a way to get him back involved in the right way and in the right spaces and places to potentially force a game 7.
Yeah, and I think that and Trae kind of has to come with the same mindset
Yeah.
too, right? When you think about, being able to insert himself early on, making sure that, hey, I got my stroke tonight. Let me get going, and then I'm gonna make sure everybody else get involved. And I think that that's not gonna be the thing that we don't have to really necessarily worry about too tough when it comes to, what they have, going forward and thinking, okay, DJ, we know you got to get the rock in your hands from time to time, and I think that once you have that, we can get going and making sure that we are where we need to be.
Indeed. And Trae Young had something to say for the South, who had something to say last night, and every dayers, we know you guys got something to say too. So let us know what your thoughts are about the fact that the Hawks forced game 6, forced this series to come back to Atlanta. We always appreciate all your thoughts, and we hope that you guys will continue to give us feedback on what you think about our mock draft picks. If you have some different thoughts on your mock draft pick, let us know who you think, especially for tomorrow, because we might just insert you into the show and let everybody know what you guys think the Falcons will do, whether they pick at the 8, go up, or go back in the draft. So don't forget, check us out on YouTube, because of course you can see us in all of our draft night glory, or you can
Yes.
check us out wherever you download and listen to your podcast.